Happy Sabbath, everybody. This is the 8th study of our camp, the penultimate one. So just one more after this. Maybe. Just about to say maybe. So I want to apologise for those online. I guess many of you will not have seen the message in time that we were having a study yesterday evening. It was live streamed and recorded. It was a standalone study, so it wasn't a continuation of what we've been doing. So it will be online in due course. And you feel free to watch it whenever you get it. But if you didn't see the study yesterday, you haven't missed anything in the thread of our discussion. Let's open with a word of prayer. Holy God, we thank you that through your goodness and mercy we can be here today. That we can find grace and strength. Clear understanding of your word. We ask for the help and assistance of the Holy Spirit. And may each of us also commit to you that in these closing hours of this camp, we'll turn our hearts and our minds to the focus of your word and not be distracted by the cares and worries of this life. In Jesus' name, amen. Does anybody have any questions, worries, concerns? Anybody want to say anything? Not about last night. Everybody? Blessing?
Elisa me dit.
Is it possible to just have a quick recap of the 4 options that you put on the board yesterday?
Yep, I will do a recap.
Okay, so that's all I wanted.
Okay. Oh, we're here now done?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, let's just want to sit there, that's fine. I don't mind. So, you already have the board work for number 6. Which is not Blessing's question. So that's number 5. So in study number 6, I think we discussed, I'll call it the dangers or the problems when you do line upon line methodology. I know all of us have been, it's been drummed into us that that's what we're supposed to do. And I'm not saying to stop. I'm still carrying on the insistence that that's what you're supposed to do. But I want to add maybe a new thought or a caveat now. Don't know. A new thought. A caution. Caveat isn't caution. That in the past you were either taught directly or subtly, or there was an inference. When people spoke to you about upon the testimony of two things established, if you see two things in the past, like this. Oops. So we've got all these 7 dispensations, and if you saw two things, hopefully 3, and the number 2 were the same. I mean, actually the same thing. Then in our dispensation at the very end, which is what you're interested in, it would be that very thing. And I'm saying that it can be completely different, which makes it in some ways easier, but in other ways much more difficult. Any questions on that? Everybody clear? Okay. So that was study 6. So you need to go back to study 5 if we're going to look at those 4 options. So if you're looking through the boardwork, if you do jump back to study 6, we had a beast, we had control, and we had a woman. And we've tried to define what a woman is. We have essentially just stated what a beast is. And I'll stick to the word state. But in both 5 and 6, we ended up with government. And we've just stated that without really proving it. But there have been a couple of voices, including mine, that have said to just be careful about that. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It means your conceptualization of what state means might be very different to what it actually is at the end. Which is why we did study 6. I thought I had. I haven't. Someone confirmed that I haven't, and I'll just do it now. It's just we've got so many pictures. I've lost track. So we've already got to 4. Okay. So you've had that caution, that warning. And when we spoke about the woman, as we've tried to define its nature, we began with we began with say the word church through the influence of other speakers, not exclusively, but including Elder Tess and Elder Terry. Hopefully we're not misquoting anybody. But we picked up 2 other words: culture and nationalism. And we said they're synonymous terms depending upon the story or the dispensation. And then from those words, we picked up the word ideology, or I offered that. Because every time we went to those things, we spoke about the idea of each of those things. The idea of the church, the idea of culture, the idea of nationalism, or what they believe. So that's how we got to the word ideology. I've provided 3 definitions of the word. So we began with ideology, and we quickly came to the conclusion that we had to add something, add a phrase. And we had the ideology of something. Pascal, do you want to make a comment on that? Just with, how does the mic work?
Yesterday I said that it was fairer to say something with an ideology because the something is a subject and the woman is a subject. So you understand what I say? Yes, no, no.
So some people don't understand what you're saying.
If it's a grammatical point, the way it's written here, you can understand that the ideology is the subject, so the woman is the ideology. But when you say something with an ideology, the something is the subject and is the woman with an ideology. And this is what we want to know. What is the something?
Thank you. So the summary of that, if I can put it this way, when we had ideology and Blessing said, you have to put something. And you remember we spoke about you can't put anything. So that was one point. And if you just have ideology, the inference is probably that it could be of anything. So you have to specifically say something. And then he insisted several times that we have to shift our thinking from the ideology to the thing. And some people may have got that. Some people may have not have got that. Or we just accepted it without fully understanding. So what Pascal observed was that if you just take, it may not quite be a sentence, but if you take that sentence grammatically, the way it's constructed this way, the word ideology is what's important. Or she just said the subject of this, the phrase or the sentence. And what we should really be considering is that the thing is the subject and the ideology is the verb, I think. Verb? No. Complement. Is that an adjective then?
No, it's okay.
Okay, whatever it is, someone can tell me. What is it? Verb. And what's the verb?
Equals. The verb is equals. That's the verb of the sentence.
Okay, I won't get into it. I don't want to get, I guess I don't understand that. Someone can teach me later. So she wanted to swap this round. Are we okay? Do you want to have to? You want to help me? Because that's what that's what I thought she could help me as well. Then microphone.
I was just explaining what a verb is. It's like helping, working, doing. It's working. You know, it's you do something, doing. That kind of words are verbs. It's like
Okay, I'm okay with that. I didn't get what.
In something with an ideology, it's not a whole sentence. You don't have a verb. If you have the woman equals something with in ideology, it's equals. It is something, and an is the verb.
Yep. Yep. I didn't have woman in the thing. I just had ideology of something. Okay. We okay? We got to something with an ideology. So we're okay there. And then we asked, this something is controlling the beast. And we're not all in agreement that we're in agreement that the beast is a king. So I'll put that in parenthesis. king, ruler, and I'm suggesting that in the normal run of things, the way things would normally be, is that rulers rule. They're at the apex or at the top. Otherwise, they're not the ruler. So I don't know if you, was it yesterday, took the opportunity after class to go into the Greek and look at the words. So I'm going to use a bit of poetic license. I did. And it seems to me that the word king means absolute ruler. I disagree with, some people disagree with that. So if this person is an absolute ruler, then there's no one above that person. And then the concept of control is introduced into this story. And therefore we get to the place that the woman is in control or over the king. And therefore she becomes the ruler. So I don't know if we're all okay. I think we're not all okay with that, but most of us are, and I don't know how to move on that. So then I asked the question is, no, then we had an observation. The story seems to indicate that the king, the ruler, is still there. And what I understand still there means, okay, you tell me what you think it means. That, we'll say singular, that king, it may be plural, it's irrelevant. I'm not making that point. The king doesn't disappear out of the story. It's still there. So what does that mean to you? Because that's where we disagreed. I and Andreas, maybe other people. So I've said what I believe it means. But but I'll restate it in a minute. But you tell me what you think it means. We're getting to Blessing's request for summary. This is the beginning of that summary. Are you going to say something, Magda, or not? No? Okay. Tamina?
It means to me that the king voluntarily gives his power to the woman. The king is
Like for a second?
for the time being.
And when does the time being end?
When he throws the woman off.
Okay. Did everybody understand what she said? Put your hands up if you didn't understand.
Can you translate?
No. Not being awkward, because I just don't think I agreed with what you said.
It seems to me that the king doesn't give.
Can I stop you? What's my question?
From the 4 points we had, which one
No.
are we going for?
Not 4 points. I said I'm doing the summary. And in case Blessing was worried, I said we're at the beginning. So we haven't even got to 4 points yet. What's my question?
I don't remember anymore.
Okay. Anybody remember my question? Magda? Just do the question first, not the answer.
Why we still see the kings in the picture.
It was almost like that. Did I say it that way? You have a go, Lisanne. Picture story is the same.
Yeah, you said that the king is still there. So how can that be that the king is still there? That's what I understood.
Okay. So I'm going to say it this way. Maybe it's different. When I read 17, it seems to me that the king is still there. And then I can't remember what I asked, but I'm going to ask, what does that mean to you before I tell you what it means to me? Okay, so you've got the mic if you want to do it, or give it to Magda. You want to answer? No, if you want to answer the question.
In my mind, it would be that the king is somehow influenced. So it's still there, but there's someone influencing the king and saying him what to do.
So you can do that or that. Tamina, did she just say the same thing you did?
And for the last part, if you asked, as you asked Tamina, until when, how long? I would go to Revelation 17:16.
Okay. So forget the how long bit. So you just said what Tamina said. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you weren't one of the ones that put your hand up when you didn't understand. Okay, that's fine. Did you want to say something, Mark? Okay. Magda?
I think I wanted to say something similar, that the kings weren't killed, but influenced. So quite similar thing.
So you said the king is not killed. Okay, so what else you saying?
And with the rest, I would say I agree with Lisanne and Tamina,
Which is what?
that it's influenced
What does that mean?
or used by someone.
What does that mean?
That someone's giving them an idea and kind of like ruling by that.
King is not killed. King is
Influence? Used? Needed? Controlled?
Tell me when you finished.
I'm done.
Arian.
The king is alive. King is ruling. I would say the king still has its political authority.
That's ruling.
But the things it implements, like the policies it implements.
Are you happy just to stop there?
Okay. Yeah.
That the king isn't killed and the king is still ruling.
Mhm.
So it's not that the king is still there, he's actually ruling. So that's what you see. Okay, anyone else over there? Someone say something? Speak now or hold? No? Okay, Monica? I've seen your hand.
The king is needed because without the king, the woman cannot do anything.
Is that different to what's on the board? Have you added anything? Or do you disagree with something that's there?
It's there. Souhlasím. I agree with what's there.
So you're not adding anything.
You asked why the king is there. And I'm saying because it has to be there.
Are you adding anything that's there? What you adding, I don't know what else to write, what you're saying, because it sounds like what you said is already there.
Okay. I think what I added is that the king is needed.
You need someone for what reason?
In this case,
Not this case. You need someone for what reason?
it can be many things. I can specify it to this case.
Give me a generic answer.
That they do something for you.
You could do it yourself. That's not the definition, is it?
If I don't have the means to do it.
So you need someone because you can't do it. Is that what you said? Why can't you do it and they can do it?
They have skills, ability, infrastructure. Yeah.
Because they're more powerful than you?
Yes.
That's number 2, isn't it? So it seems your answer didn't add what's already there. It felt to me. Last chance. Someone's going to say something. Oh, have you done, sorry?
I think the king is not ruling. The king is not killed, but the king is not ruling.
What is the king now?
A puppet.
Puppet.
Yeah.
Puppets can't do anything. So do you need the puppet to do something for you?
You need the position.
So you need the position.
Yeah.
And you're more powerful than the puppet.
Yeah.
Which means
you don't need the position.
I'm not saying I'm right, but that's why I disagreed with the term vassal kings. Could be wrong. Anyone already done? Over this side? I'll go with you, Esther, then Blessing. I know you had your hand up first. Esther.
I think the king is manipulated from the woman.
Not asking that. Not asking that. Tell me about the king, not it's been manipulated. Did the king disappear from the story? So what do you think that means?
He is ruling. Oh, he is ruling, but er ist beherrscht. No.
He's ruled.
Sorry?
He's being ruled.
So he's not a king.
No, it's a codependent work. Zusammenarbeit und Abhängigkeit.
They work together because they're codependent.
Not codependent. It says control. So you think codependency is control?
Yes.
So in a codependency, who needs whom? Can't say yes. I'm saying who needs whom in a codependency.
He needs her and her needs him.
What does the king need the woman for?
For things that he cannot do.
And what do you think a king can't do? Can't clean the toilet? Can't cook their food? Can't win a battle?
Maybe influence people.
If the king can't control the people or influence them, he goes to his servant and says, sort them out.
More or less.
Who's in control?
Who?
Who is in control? The servant or the king?
It depends.
You just gave me a story. You said we've got to control the people. And I said, the king tells the servant to control the people. You said yes. Who's in control, the servant or the king?
Oh, the servant. Servant.
The servant is. So the servant told the king what to do. You just said the king told the servant what to do.
It's not so black and not so white.
It's very straightforward. Because there's a king, there's the servant, and the people. And who's giving the orders?
Normal, the king.
In your story, normal, you said king, servant, people. Who's giving the commands?
Okay, then the servant.
So the servant said, I'm ordering you, king, to go and sort the people out.
Can you repeat your question?
No. Blessing. It's because we're not getting anywhere. That's why. Blessing.
This dynamic made me think of the stories of Daniel 2 and 7. Daniel 2 talks about the four metals existing until the end. And God setting up a kingdom in the days of those kings. And I also thought of Daniel 7.
Before we go to 7, are you going to tie them together afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Daniel 7 talks about the beasts and how those beasts remained alive. They were not killed, even though they had their dominion taken away. So how I'm tying them together is that the story of prophecy seems to point to the existence of a king when they're not a king anymore. I'm not saying it answers Revelation 17, but it just made me think of that dynamic.
Did anybody not understand what he said? Okay. We didn't understand quite.
Okay, so in point number 1, you asked if the king is killed or not killed. And then point number 2 is the king ruling or not ruling. And in Daniel 2, I'm saying most of those kings were not ruling anymore, but they're represented as being alive, and they're identified as kings at the end when God is setting up their kingdom. And then in Daniel 7, they're represented as not killed, but they're not ruling. Their dominion is taken away, but they're alive. So I was just saying there seems to be similar dynamics in Daniel to the discussion we're having about Revelation 17. So it might not necessarily be an issue of someone is influencing the king. It might not be that simple. That's all I'm saying.
Did that help? Everybody good? Not really.
No.
You don't have to carry on, but
Yeah.
unless you want to.
I guess I don't have anything more to say.
Okay. Come back after we've had some more discussion if you feel, Justina. I want to get this clear because we've got a disagreement on this point, and I'm not persuaded that I'm right.
When we talk about kings ruling, I just wanted to ask where do we get it? Like when we say it's a king, it's a ruler. I think I just said I forgot a bit where we got that.
Got your question? I can either go to the Greek. I can either go to the Greek, or I can just ask you, close your eyes and imagine a king and tell me what that means to you. And my guess is you're going to say someone who sits on the throne, who rules, and no one rules above that person because they're the ruler.
I think my issue is really to do with the beast. Are we conceptualizing it as a king, like a person, or can we? Maybe it goes back. So it goes back to how we conceptualize the state, or
I'm not conceptualizing anything. The word was king, not state. Do we want to look at the definition of king? It's not going to help, but just tell you one who rules. So I'm just saying it's the ruler. Does that move you forward?
Melba, I'll listen more and then I'll come back if I have questions.
Okay. Sylvie, then Lizanne.
A king always has its advisors. He never acts on himself, on his own behalf. He never acts on himself, so he doesn't make his own decisions. And she can think of that the woman is his advisor.
Well done. So the other day, so number 5, yesterday, I let you put advisor. Tell me what an advisor is. Sylvie. What is an advisor?
A team of people who advises the king.
I don't know what that is, but you just repeated yourself.
They influence the king.
Advisor is a person. Yeah. And the title of the person comes from their job function. Advisors do what? Sylvie.
Like the word says it, they advise.
Okay. So these people advise. Tell me what advise means.
You converse about something, you discuss about it.
Sie bringen ihre Ideen ein.
They give their ideas.
So an advisor gives their idea. They don't tell the person they're giving advice to what to do. Agree with that? So your friend says, tell me what to do. And you say, I'll just give you some advice, which means they do what they want. Agree with that? Yes, Sylvie, or not?
Aber jetzt im Falle von Trump und Steve Miller.
Not Trump or Miller. No.
Ich weiß es.
I don't know.
You and your friend, they say, tell me what to do. And you say, I will advise you. Who makes the decision? Who's ruling?
The king.
Your friend, not you. So the definition of advisor is not someone who rules. Agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so I know we did it the other day, but I just want to put that in. I'm suggesting that I guess I'm going to agree with Arian. Seems to me the way this story is written is that the king is ruling and this woman comes, interacts with the king in some shape or form, and the king is still a king, which means the king is still ruling, hasn't stopped ruling. Now, I know there's a bit more to the story, but it's either that dynamic or the king is no longer ruling. So either the person's ruling or they're not ruling. We came up with 4 examples. There might be up more. So that's before we get to the 4. The examples that we gave. So it seems to me that the king is ruling. It's not a proof yet. Curtis? Oh, so I'll do Curtis and sorry, I didn't see you.
In verse 12,
Don't bother with verses. 17:12. Want to read it?
yeah.
The 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. I like you now.
So it talks about these kings that have the title of king. And then it goes through 2 phases. At some point, it doesn't have a kingdom. And then at some point it does. But it's still a king. And when it says kingdom there, the definition of kingdom is rule. So that king is still a king, even though it's not ruling. So I'm just trying to point out that the verse is saying, at least I think, that you can be a king in title and not rule.
Who's ruling?
In there, it doesn't say. But if you want to take the chapter as a whole,
Conceptually.
the woman.
If you're a king, you have a kingdom.
Can have a kingdom.
Okay. Might.
Once.
So you're a king and you don't have a kingdom. Then you're clearly not ruling anything.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a king and you have a kingdom, are you ruling then?
Yes.
Not the woman.
All I wanted to say,
Not anyone else.
sure, this isn't answering like who's ruling in that dynamic. All I wanted to point out is that we're kind of using king and implying that king insists that there's rulership.
I'll re-ask the question then. Who runs kingdoms?
Kings.
So if there's a kingdom,
There has to be a king.
there'd be a king.
Yes.
And would the king have to be the ruler? No one else?
Yes.
Okay. So if you're saying we're assuming that there's a kingdom, but it might not be.
Yeah.
Okay. In this story, not the verse, when it speaks about the kings of 1, 2, 3, whatever, are those kings who are ruling a kingdom or not?
At what point? When the woman's riding it.
That's when they're alive. Yeah.
When those kings have a kingdom, they're king.
Didn't ask that question.
Yeah, so which question?
Do they have a kingdom? The kings who are spoken of in the beginning, not the
Okay.
later verses.
Yes.
Okay. So those kings have kingdoms.
Mhm. I wasn't objecting to the conclusion.
Okay.
My objection was the way you're getting to the conclusion. Because from what I understand, you're saying just because it says king, it implies they have a kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Kings who have kingdoms, is there anybody above them?
no.
Okay. So if we're okay with that, you agree with me and Arian at that level. Others may be. My second question now is, those kings at the beginning that we're speaking about, because we're not speaking about verse 12 kings, did those ones have kingdoms?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not asking you to prove it, but you think those ones have? Okay. So I think they do as well.
As I said, I'm not.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you've said we need to be clear, so I've tried to clear up. Is that?
Yeah, I was thinking during the conversation. And as you gave your summary, I thought that was what I was thinking. That when you have a king in a country or a kingdom, the people and the army see the king as their ruler.
As
their ruler.
oh,
Army.
The people in the army. So they listen to the king. And that's how he keeps on ruling. But if there's this woman, for example, I don't know, his wife or whatever, saying him what to do, it looks like the king is ruling because the people in the army are listening to him. And he is ruling, but he is influenced. So that's, I think, what Emma tried to say with the woman needs the position of the king, so the king to act. And what we also meant. We see the king ruling.
finished? So before Mark says something, I wasn't so gracious to Emma as I was with you. I apologize, Emma. And the graciousness was I let you go 2 or 3 steps ahead of where we already are. Because all I wanted to establish first was to Go in the story and tell me when those kings are annihilated. Taken away. And I can't see that. And so then I'm suggesting that number 2. Once we get to that those kings are really ruling. That king is really ruling. Then we go back to the story. And if you're correct, we could say the bit that you said in the second half. But to me, the second half is either wrong or a guess, unless we're sure about the initial step, which is number 2 on the board.
Okay. So in my head, I was already past step 2.
For me,
Yeah, no, but that was, I knew that the king is still sitting and ruling, but he's influenced.
yes. And at this point, when we first began this, that's, I think, why people disagreed. Just if we stop here, I want us hopefully to all agree that the king is alive and ruling. Because if he's either dead or not ruling, the story would have to show that.
Yeah.
Or we would have to read into the story a different scenario. Mark?
Then I think I should also not add any comment.
Okay. So, what we've done, we began with ideology, which is an idea. So, something has an idea, and the something, which is why we started with ideology and we've shifted. But it's the ideas of the something, we'll say the woman, it's the ideas of the woman. So people have said manipulated or influenced, that are controlling the king. We got all of that because we began with the word ideology. And several people have observed that's not a definition. It's not a proof. So it's not a proof that this is correct. So we have to find something in the story that says that's correct. And we didn't quite get to that, but we began by exploring this idea that the king isn't killed. Killed means thrown off your throne, put in prison, and he's still ruling. Okay, so once we, well, if we agree with that, then we came up with we just brainstormed 4 options, I think it was, of how you could control a king who has a kingdom. All good? So we had a coup, revolution, army, and we put the word advisor. So maybe we'd refine some of these things because, oh no, let me do 3 again. an external army. Because if we just put army, that's number one, isn't it? Potentially. That's why we didn't put external in my notes. And what we said about that were all these would be topple. Which means you take the person off the throne. Which means one is fulfilled, they're killed, and two is fulfilled, which means they're no longer ruling. Obviously, it means the opposite of what's there, yeah? Number four, I think we put the word remain. So this is the logic that we used, that it seems that it's option number four. So someone has said wife, wife. I guess, yeah. I could say, yeah, if I can get someone said wife, it wasn't my word. They said wife. And then someone said advisor. So that's basically as far as we'd got. And we did then say take away. And we said give up. So give up would mean remain and give up. Okay. Is that a fair enough summary, Blessing? Not yet. Mike?
So I just want to confirm the difference between coup and revolution. Are you saying it's army and then common people?
Basically, yes. We said a coup, I think we used the word internal leaders. Sometimes it's army, sometimes it's another politician.
Mm-hmm.
And revolution, I think we said was, I don't think we put the word, we did, internal people.
Okay.
So that's as far as we got. And the question is this a sufficient proof? Or do we need to take an extra step? What we're trying to do is to prove that the control that the woman has over the beast, everybody got that? The control that the woman has over the beast is through ideas, not force. Anybody think that we haven't quite, meaning they said nailed that down, confirmed it? There's still some gaps. That's what we need to be clear about. Anyone over here? That you have some worries or concerns? So this is why what we haven't done is spoken about the woman as state. We've left that. I'm not yet persuaded that that affects what we've done so far. And so I don't know if we all agree on that, that the fact that it's a group of people, or a state or a church. It hasn't affected what we've done so far. That's point one. And I'm yet to be persuaded that this is a scenario of King of Kings. Because I just think this is king, and I'm going to use the word influencer, which I don't think is the definition of King of Kings. I'm not denying that the woman controls, and then you could say rules the king. I'm not denying that. But to me, the King of King model is, out of 1, 2, 3, and 4, to me would be number 3. In its most clearest form, and perhaps 1 and 2. But most King of King stories, I don't know one that's different, that would be number 3. And I don't think the imagery gives us that. So that's why I want us to be sure of what we're doing. Because once we've done all of this, you just come to our time and you plug it in. And the answers, if you've done it right, remember only halfway there because we've already done woman, not beast. You have a robust, what I'm going to call a template. If everybody knows what a template is, you have something and you want to check if it's the right size. And what you don't do is take a ruler and measure it. You don't do that. You take something that's been pre-made and verified, and you fit it over the thing. And if it fits exactly, you know it's correct. Okay. Who had their hands up? So I'll do Curtis, and then Lizanne.
Is this a good enough explanation of what you're describing from the verses?
So what you're about to say, you're asking, is this a good summary or explanation of what we've said so far?
Or proof of what you've said so far?
So is this a good proof of what we've said?
Yeah. That it says that
Where?
the woman sits
Where?
on many waters.
Are you just paraphrasing?
Yeah, in verse 1.
We're in verse 1. Go, sorry.
And then in verse 2, it talks about the kings committing fornication with this woman. And then it talks about the inhabitants of the earth who've been made drunk with stuff. And if we just take the assumption that the many waters are peoples which are being made drunk in verse 2.
A little bit slower.
So it says that the woman is sitting on many waters.
Verse 1.
Yes. And if we just make the assumption that those many waters are peoples in the earth.
People are citizens?
Whatever it is.
Okay.
I'm going to say it's the inhabitants of verse 2. So when it says made drunk with the wine of her fornication, it's describing what it means for the woman to sit on those peoples. That it's an act of making drunk with something. So whatever definition we want to give to make drunk with something,
Drunk.
drunk. I think we would agree that that's something to do with ideas.
Let me stop you before I ask people. Tell us what you're trying to prove. Just like a one-liner.
That when it says that the woman sits on the kings, the beast, it's making drunk with wine. So it's the same dynamic.
I never said any of that before.
Sure.
And you're trying to prove what I said.
Yes. From the chapter.
Just tell us what the proof is and then show us it. Tell us what you're trying to show us.
I'm trying to show us that the way the woman interacts with the beast,
Controls.
is nothing physical. It's not 1, 2, or 3.
Can I rephrase?
Mhm.
So you're going to try to prove in verses 1 and 2 that the way the woman controls is through ideas. So that's what we said before, and now he wants to try to prove that through the verses. Are we understand that? So can you just give us the proof?
That when it says sits on many waters, it tells us in verse 2 what that means. Which is to make drunk with wine.
Make people?
Inhabitants. Yeah.
Is that people?
Yeah. So now if we just take sits onto another line and you put on beast, your equals is going to be make beast drunk. Pardon? Yeah, yeah. Sit being the same as ride. Okay. So then you'd have to prove that make drunk is to do with ideas. So I've just made that jump, made that assumption.
Drunk means?
To make drunk means it's to do with ideas.
What do I put here?
Believe.
Believe?
A good enough approximation for now.
Anybody not understand what he just said? All clear? Okay, they're all clear. Have you finished?
Yeah.
So you've juxtaposed the control of the people with the control of the beast. And you've said the control of the people is to make them drunk. And therefore, because it doesn't say, the control of the beast has to be the same. Because the left-hand side is the same thing. Sits on the beast is where? Three.
Yeah.
So this is verse 3. So verse 1 and verse 3 are equal, we can already know what verse 2 says. And therefore, we're now going to define what sitting on beast means, which means we're going to define what the control is. Changing the way they think. Drunk. Yeah. I'll do Peter because he's had his hand up for ages. Are you okay to hold your question till the next class? Okay. So that was Andreas will hold his question for the next class. We'll do Peter now. Go ahead.
I was thinking about the second verse as well. And I see similarity with the sitting on the beast and the fornication with the kings. If the kings are the beast, so the sitting on it should be something like the fornication. If I think about it right. And I see that there's something like a false relationship or the feelings are affected. Or that their charm for the woman by feeling.
So carry on. Are you finished? Is he finished? Okay, so next class, Andreas has a question. And I have a question. Curtis did what's on the board you can see. Can you just talk about fornication? No. Because it said it said he did fornication with the kings. I think it didn't say makes them drunk. So if you can have a think about that, let's go with prayer. Holy God, we thank you. Help us to come into unity, not only in our feelings and our emotions towards one another, but also in our doctrine. In Jesus' name, amen.